Hi all, so welcome to the day one of autumn watercolors class. Let's paint a very basic forest, right? So I just want you to have little fun over here, not worry about oh this subject is very difficult or how do I paint it. So we'll just start with some very basic and then we'll take some advanced lessons at the end of the class as we progress. So first of all, for this particular class, as you have seen, there's a sun in the center and there are some autumn trees and then the foreground with some green grass, right? So what we're gonna do, we will start by wetting our paper. So if you're using a masking tape, then make sure that you have taped your paper nicely. If not using and you're doing like me, then yeah, let's go ahead and start. So yeah, we'll start by wetting the whole paper. Now I'm using the paper like block of paper. So my paper is already sticked from the four corners, right? For the from all the four sides, and that's why I'm not using any masking tape. If you're using masking tape, good. If you don't have a masking tape and you have a paper without a block, then just try to wet the paper on both the sides. I've shown this in one of my class project. So just wet the paper in both sides and then stick it on a glass surface, right? Or a plastic surface, and it will stick nicely. Then you can use that paper for painting. So now I have completely wet my paper. Just make sure go your brush up around the paper. We don't want any water puddles on the paper. So I'm just trying to ensure that there's no water puddles. So once you're satisfied with that, we'll just start with painting. So first of all, I'm gonna pick the gomboge yellow for painting the sun. And then what we are gonna do is we'll paint around the sun. So we're gonna leave a circle on the center of the page and just paint around it on a circular motion. Then we'll fill the paper with some basic hues of autumn, right? So this is just leave that portion. So just paint around it. So just leave and correct the shape of the sun. Okay. So once that is done, I am just using the same brush. So the brush that I'm using is Princeton brush, and I think it's a size 6 brush that I'm using. Okay. I also have a size 4 in that. These are Princeton long round brushes that I'm using. So now I've taken a little bit of Indian yellow, which is on a very diluted consistency, right? So I pick up the color, I dip my brush in water, and then so I just dilute it on the go. So if you're someone new, then I'll just encourage you to take that color in your palette, mix it with some water, and then start painting. This is lemon yellow. Lemon yellow has a green hue in it, and that's why it gives a little bit of greeny shade. What you can do, so all this I'm doing is for the background, right? So everything is highly diluted. It's all very diluted with water. And you can use a big brush for this. Right now, I started using ruffle brush, I think. Yeah. It has to be a variation of colors. If we go some places dark, some places light, right? And then we just try to mix that with the yellow for the sun that we have painted. This is all for the background. Now once you're satisfied with your background and you have like blocked all the colors for your painting, then just leave it aside. We'll keep it like this because we want to dry. I just want to dry the paper, but then I don't want to dry the paper like completely dry. And I don't want this bit as well, so it should be somewhere in the middle. Okay. Okay, so I left my paper for some time for it to be dry but not completely dry, right? So if it is still wet, I'll say it is moist, I think. Okay, so now what I'll do, we'll start drawing some trees. So for trees, just go take your brush, paints gray or burnt umber and any dark color that you want your tree barks to be, right? And draw such lines that you see I'm drawing. Maybe form some branches, take out some branches of the out of that tree, right? So it's just up to you, play with it. I want you to have fun. Need not be exactly same as I am trying to do, right? And also don't try to make it perfect. So your trees, they are never in a perfect straight line, so don't try to make them perfect. Just try. So some trees would be thicker, some will be thinner, some are small, some are big, right? Some are broken, and then that's okay. Now the only catch that we want to make sure is, as you go near to the sun area, right? I just don't want you to use same color near to the sun area. What you can use is your lemon yellow or your Indian yellow, mixed with a tint of brown or orange, right? And then make trees around it, because that part or the trees which are very closer in perspective to the that sun rays, or the sun rays coming from those trees, will be little lighter in color. They'll have some lightening around them, right? So that's why we want to make them lighter. After you are done painting them, I'm now proceeding ahead with making some leaves for those trees, right? So this is because it's an autumn. It's just trying to paint something orange, yellowish, green. So what you have to do, just take some amount of pigment in your brush and do dab 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 dab. So just like dab dab movement that I'm trying to do, right? If you have a very rough brush, right, very hard bristle brush, then you can just take that brush, dip in your color, and then do the dabbing. So it's just up to you, right? We don't want to draw a perfect leaf. We just want to give a hint of leaves around it. And if you're comfortable, you can basically complete one portion, one side of the portion with everything, like the tree trunk, the branches, the leaves, everything, and then go to the next side. So I like touch my paper. I feel if it is very dry, so I have to speed up. So I just speed up that area, right? So if it is completely dry, the tree, it will not be looking, or the branches or the leaves that we're trying to make, they'll not look as they are in the background. They'll feel like they are in foreground, which I don't want, right? So just keep. And here would be a mix of all the colors, as I said, right? So it would be your gombache yellow, it will be cadmium yellow, it would be scarlet lake, right? It would be vermilion, or your golden color as well. It can be anything. It can also be scarlet red light. Golden deep is also such a nice color to use, right? So just have fun with it. Just keep dabbing until you are satisfied ki, yeah, okay, the consistency looks good, the volume looks good, and yeah, it feels like a dense forest or not, right? So just keep doing that. You know what, we you would also do this particular technique wet on wet also, right? So you can just keep your paper completely wet. So I dried it. So I did a semi-dry, right? If you don't want to do, if you remember the class exercise, so the watercolor technique exercise that we did, in that the wet on wet technique, right? So what I was doing, I was just dropping colors wet on wet. So yeah, same thing you can also do. And then once, so you can do your base layer wet on wet completely, and then once it is dry, use the same technique to make some leaves like pop out, maybe like they look like they are in the foreground, right? And as you can see, I prefer to mix my orange myself, so I have a mix of gamboge yellow, cadmium yellow, and scarlet over there in my palette, which I keep mixing as and when I go ahead and take the next color. Most of the time for this kind of painting, I am also not cleaning my brush every time, right? So I just do some stroke, I just dip my brush in water, then pick up the another color, because I want those colors to get mixed in each other, right? I'm gonna speed up the process little bit, and then we will start painting the grass at the bottom. So once our trees, leaves, and everything is done, now we'll paint some grass. So you can pick up your light green or sap green color, and then just flick your brush in an upward movement to make some grasses. Now, if you're not comfortable using a very big brush, I recommend you to use liner. Liner would be actually perfect for these kind of strokes. Or you can also use a size 2 or size 0. So whatever you're comfortable with. If you're using a big brush, then make sure that it's pointy. Okay. While I was adding grass, I thought, ki, why not add some greens also on the tree so that the other colors pop out. They just come. It's like starting of the autumn, but not completely like turned around, right? It just looks good, and see how what a difference it has made, right? Oh, I love that. I love that sun. I love those trees, and that green color is just wow. It's just adding so much beauty to the whole painting, right? So yeah, so you can eat add as much green as you want, but just don't go overboard. I feel like sometimes I overdo and I don't know when to stop. But yeah, if you feel that your painting is looking good without the greens, don't go ahead and add them. It's just an optional step. Okay. So this is how I'll be adding the grass on the whole foreground. And then you have to do mix of colors. So you don't use only one green color, make it variation. So you do a dark green, you do a light green, you do a olive green. To make your green more darker, you can also add your blue indigo color or any blue color to your green, and it's gonna go one shade or two shades darker, right? Depending upon how much color you're adding. So yeah, go ahead and paint grass. I think you get the idea, right? And let's see. I'll just speed up a process a little bit because it's just little time consuming, and I'm basically not doing anything differently over here. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm trying to add some other colors also, as I told you guys, right? So it won't be always one shade of green. It should be mix of greens. Now I'm trying to add little bit of brown shade in it. So I'm adding burnt sienna so that it just gives a natural feeling to that grass, right? So what you will see in grass lands, your grass will always not be of one color. So the leaves of the grass, they vary, right? So the tip would be lighter, bottom would be more darker, the area which is dense will be darker, right? So that's what we want to do. In the end, not much left in here to be done. I'm just checking if my paper is still wet or not, and I'll just be doing detailing, finishing touches on my branches. So those branches have gone lot on the background. They are not popping out, and I want them to pop out and add some branches here and there, right? So that's what I'm gonna do. You can also do that, and feel free to add your touch to the painting. You can also use this wash, right? So take your once you're done with all the branches and those grass area, right? If you want to make it very subtle, then just take a flat brush of your own and dip it in a very diluted version of green, or I'll say lemon yellow, right? Very diluted version, and then just wash it over that grass area. So what it will do, it will just dial it down. It just tone down the version. You will not see those hard edges as we are seeing now on that paper. I just wanted to keep it that way, and I left it. It's an optional choice. If you want to do, just take a big flat brush, take a diluted version of light green or lemon yellow, the color of your choice, and then just wash it over, and that's it. I hope all of you have enjoyed this whole process. I think I'll almost be done by detailing. I will add few more branches here and there. But yeah, I think that's it. That's how this simple autumn forest would look like. Thank you everyone for joining my class. If you feel like this is done, you can just stop. And as soon as it's done, just share your class projects with me. I'm really super excited to see. And I love, love, love how this has turned out. I love that sun, which is like popping. So yeah, that's it. See you guys in the next class.